Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Andrea Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea, and I'm bringing you commentary you can use. So, this is episode 58, y'all. That's right, episode 58. Before I begin, I want to say thank you all so much for supporting the channel, for subscribing to the channel. If you are not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe to the channel, Andrea Speaks TV, so that you can stay connected and informed when I do upload new content. I do upload videos every week. And so I have over 70 videos, y'all. I have over 70 videos right here on the channel, all with commentary information you can use. Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support. I had a little bit of a delay coming to you all live with this broadcast, but nevertheless, I am here. And again, I want to thank you all so much for your support. I have several links. I have several links in the description of this video that I would like for you all to check out. And tonight, y'all, I'm coming with a topic, one that's very concerning. I want to give a shout out to one of my subscribers, Armana, who actually sent me some information on this topic, one that I wasn't aware of at the time. And I want to talk, let's have a conversation tonight. Let's talk about the fact that there were some vials that were labeled smallpox. That's right, y'all, smallpox. Vials that were labeled smallpox were found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer. Doesn't that sound strange, y'all? Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Armana. I really appreciate you. And thank you for making me aware of this story. As much as I do my research, you all know I like to, come and give you all factual information. And as much as I, do my research, at the time, I had not come across this story. So Um, I appreciate you sharing the information with me. Okay. All right, y'all. As I was saying, I have several helpful links in the description of this video. Please make sure you check them out. If you would like to, before we get started, if you would like to support the channel, I do have Andrea Speaks TV merchandise available. The link is in the description. I have coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, mouse pads, even laptop cases, water bottles. So check them out if you would like to support the channel to help the channel grow and reach more people. I'm in my very first video that's right here on the channel. You may have to scroll a little bit further down to see it, but I talked about what is the inspiration, or what was the inspiration behind creating the channel. And at the time, you all know, even right now, there's so much news and information being pushed out to us that a lot of times it's hard to say, okay, like, this is going on and this is going on. All these things are going on. What is it that we really need to know, so that we can navigate through the current times that we live in, and also to make a plan to support ourselves, our families, our friends, our loved ones. So that's what the channel is all about. If you are someone who you are concerned about the times that we are living in, and you are looking for truth, you're looking for real solutions, then you want to make sure you subscribe to the channel, join the community. I'm looking to build a community of people who are concerned about like I said, the times that we're living in, and who are, like I said, looking for truth in all the news that's being pushed out to us, and also looking for solutions. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also share this video with your family members and friends. And I'm also on Instagram. So I've shared before, y'all. I am from a generation before social media, before the internet. And so I want to build my Instagram following. So if you are on Instagram, make sure you follow me at Andrea Speaks TV. I am on Instagram at Andrea Speaks TV. Also, make sure that you have an emergency food supply, whether you are growing your own food, you have a home garden, whether you're canning your food, different ways that you can preserve and store food. and also survival needs. So if you are in need of any of those things that I just mentioned, make sure you check out my website, preparewithandrea.com. Go on the website, get the things that you need, you and your family, so that you can be prepared. A lot of things are going on, y'all, and we're living in a time period where it's so important to be prepared. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's get back into tonight's topic again. I want to share some information with you all. I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a moment here. And we're going to talk about the fact that recently, just this past week, there were vials labeled smallpox found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer. So I want to come and give you some facts on that. Okay. All right. Again, thank you all so much for your support. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So the information, I have a few sources for tonight's episode. Um, the source of the article that I'm going to be reading does come from CBS News. Again, this comes from CBS News. And the title of the article, which you can see on the screen, says Frozen Vials Mark Smallpox Found in a Lab Freezer in Pennsylvania. Now, that is according to the CDC. Now, before I want to share this with you all as well. Okay, so this is the topic for tonight's article. But I'm sorry, this is the title, or this is the topic for tonight's show. But before I get into it, I did want to mention something. How many of you all knew this? Okay, now this is not related to my report on or my information on smallpox. Has nothing to do with smallpox at all. But recently, I believe it was this past Friday, if I'm not mistaken. How many of you all knew that President Biden had to be sedated for a routine colonoscopy? This is according to the Los Angeles Times. How many of you all knew that President Biden had to be sedated for a routine colonoscopy? And for several minutes, um, Vice President Harris, there was a transfer of presidential power. Did you all know that? Did you all realize that? I didn't do an episode about it, but I did. This happened around the same time as the news of the smallpox. And so I did want to mention that because this is, from my understanding, this is the first time in history, in our country's history here in the United States, where a female, um, had presidential powers. So I did want to acknowledge that as a moment in history and to make you all aware, because there's some people who may or may not have known that. So again, this past Friday, I believe, if you look at the caption, let me read it. It says President Biden arrives. This was this past Friday. President Biden arrives at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center on Friday, this past Friday, for his first routine physical exam as president. And so, from my understanding, according to this article in the Los Angeles Times, he did have to be sedated. And during that time, as the article says, it put Vice President Harris briefly in power. Okay, so I did want to acknowledge that as well. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and get back into the title of tonight's article. CBS News, again, is the source of the information. And the title of the article is Frozen Vials Marked Smallpox Were Found in a Lab Freezer in Pennsylvania. This according to the CDC. Okay. All right. It was shared in the chat. Let me read some of the comments. Merck, the pharmaceutical company, has a lot to answer for. Nobody knows how those vials got there. Now they're saying that there's no trace of smallpox virus. Smallpox virus in the vial sounds fishy to me. I do agree. And I will be sharing that, giving you all some details about that on tonight's episode. Okay. All right. So I want to read some information to you. Um, Give me just one moment here. Let me make sure I'm on the right slide. Okay. All right. Again, this comes from CBS News and federal health authorities. Now, this is according to the article. Federal health authorities on Wednesday confirmed, this past Wednesday, confirmed the discovery of some frozen vials labeled smallpox in a freezer at a facility in Pennsylvania that conducts research on the thing. Okay, you all know what I've referred to the thing before on the channel. You all know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So the article continues by saying the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said the vials were, and I quote, were incidentally discovered by a laboratory worker who was cleaning out the freezer. Okay. So there was someone who worked at the lab, was cleaning out the freezer, according to the article, and they found the vials that were labeled smallpox. Okay. Kind of concerning, right? It makes you wonder, okay, like what's really going on? Let me keep reading so I can give you some more details. Now, here's a statement by the CDC spokesperson, Belcy Gonzalez, said in an email, and I quote, CDC, its administration partners and law enforcement are investigating the matter and the vial's contents appear intact. Okay. Um, Gonzalez also went on to write in an email the laboratory worker who discovered the vials was wearing gloves and a face mask. There's no indication that anyone has been exposed to the small number of frozen vials. Now, let me point out, because I do have an update to share with you all, let me point out that this article was written and released November 18th, 2021. Okay, so at the time, they were saying, hold on, let me make sure. Okay, at the time, they were saying there was no indication that anyone had been exposed to the small number of frozen vials. Okay, now, Rutgers University chemistry and chemical biology professor Richard Ebright told the Philadelphia Inquirer, and I quote, for the general public, there is no basis for being worried, even a small amount. Okay, now, let's be honest, let's be real, let's be human about this. Okay, we know right now everything that's going on in the media. Right now, we know that, we know about the pandemic and everything that has been going on, and what has been said to be the causes of that. And so when we think about what's currently going on, and we think, so if we think about what's currently going on, and we hear news that all of a sudden smallpox has been found, vials labeled smallpox have been found in a freezer, after so many years, and I'm actually going to share this with you on the slide. We don't really hear about smallpox anymore, right? Smallpox, as far as we know, had been eradicated. So how is it now that in 2021 we're hearing about smallpox again? Okay, during the same time that we're currently going through this worldwide thing, this pandemic. How is all of this happening at the same time? Okay, very concerning, right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, now the discovery raised concerns. Okay, I'm pretty sure it did, right? The discovery raised concerns over inadequate security. But listen to this, y'all. The discovery raised concerns over inadequate security, not public safety. Okay, that is what this Rutgers University chemistry and chemical biology professor said. Okay. Now, the CDC would not confirm at the time of this article, the CDC would not confirm where in Pennsylvania the vials were found. Okay. Now, let me give you some background information on smallpox, because I know it's been many years since, smallpox has been around, but I do want to give you some information, some background information on smallpox. So let's talk about it. So this information comes from the CDC website. I believe if you just type in, let me make sure I have the website correct. I think it's cdc.gov and then slash / smallpox. Let me see. Hold on just a minute, y'all. cdc.gov. Okay, so if you just type in cdc .gov, uh, let me see, cdc.gov and smallpox, it should come up for you. Okay. All right. So this is on the website. You can just search it and it'll come up. But let's talk about the history of smallpox, just to kind of give you some background information. And this is again on the CDC website. The origin of smallpox, it says the origin of smallpox is unknown. The finding of smallpox, like rashes on Egyptian mummies, suggests that smallpox has existed for at least 3,000 years. Now, the earliest written description of a disease like smallpox appeared in China in the 4th century CE, or Common Era. And then the article also says early written descriptions also appeared in India in the 7th century and in Asia Minor in the 10th century. Okay. The spread of smallpox, right here, it says historians trace the global spread of smallpox to the growth of civilization and exploration. Expanding trade routes over the centuries also led to the spread of the disease. Okay. Now, I do want to give you some information on global smallpox eradication program. All right, according to this information, also on the CDC website, it says in 1959. Hold on, y'all. Let me get me something to drink. All right, so according to the information on the CDC website, it says in 1959, the World Health Organization, or the WHO, started a plan to rid the world of smallpox. Okay, now it says, unfortunately, this global eradication campaign suffered from a lack of funds, personnel, and commitment from countries, and a shortage of the V word, donations. Now, despite their best efforts, smallpox was still widespread in 1966, causing regular outbreaks across South America, Africa, and Asia. Okay, now, in the second paragraph, it says the intensified eradication program began in 1967 with a promise of renewed efforts. Laboratories, listen, y'all. Okay, I'm going to tie this in with what's currently going on. All right. Laboratories in many countries where smallpox occurred regularly were able to produce more highly quality freeze-dried, the V word. Okay. Other factors, that played an important role in the success of the intensified efforts included the development of the bifurcated needle, the establishment of a case surveillance system, and mass V word campaigns. Okay. Wow. Mass V word, y'all know what I'm talking about, campaigns. Okay. Maybe kind of like what we're seeing today, right? All right, let me see. Okay, thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Please make sure you hit the like button, share this video, and if you have not subscribed to the channel already, be sure to subscribe. Okay, we're on tonight having a discussion about the fact that vials that were labeled smallpox were found in a lab freezer in Pennsylvania. So we're looking for answers. We need answers as to why they were there and how they got there. Okay. Let's see now. The third paragraph says by the time the intensified eradication program began in 1967, smallpox was already eliminated in North America in 1952 and Europe in 1953. Cases were still occurring in South America, Asia, and Africa. Smallpox, it says, was never widespread in Australia. The program made steady progress toward ridding the world of this disease. And by 1971, listen, y'all, by 1971, smallpox was eradicated from South America, followed by Asia in 1975, and finally Africa 1977. Okay. The last case of smallpox. I won't read everything that's on the screen again. This is information that you can find on the CDC website, but it does say, let's see, the last person to pass away from smallpox was someone by the name of Janet Parker. Let's see. Just trying to see. Okay. Okay. The last sentence says an investigation suggested that Janet Parker had been infected either via an airborne route through the medical school's building's duct system or by direct contact while visiting the microbiology corridor. All right. Let's see. All right. So that's just some information about the last cases of smallpox. Now, let's talk about the world being free of smallpox. Okay. Again, it is 2021. And even though, um, we have been told there are reports, there is documented evidence that smallpox has been eradicated. Here we are in 2021, and someone has found vials labeled smallpox in a lab um, in Pennsylvania. So let's find out what's going on here. Okay. So again, this comes from the CDC website. The headline here says "World Free of Smallpox." Now, almost 2 centuries after Jenner hoped that the V word could annihilate smallpox, the 33rd World Health Assembly declared the world free of this disease on May 8th, 1980. Okay, many people consider smallpox eradication to be the biggest achievement in international public health. Okay, did you all hear what I said? Here we are. This is 2021, right? Okay. Now, I just read to you all, and I thought this was very important. I wanted to give you some background information. Now, it says here the 33rd World Health Assembly declared the world free of this disease, talking about smallpox, on May 8th, 1980. Okay, here we are again. This article, as I shared earlier, came out November 18th, 2021. Why is smallpox in the news again? Okay. Stocks of the variola virus following the eradication of smallpox, scientists and public health officials, I'm reading right here on the screen, determined there was still a need. Listen to this, y'all. Okay. This may give us some answers as to why these vials were being stored. Okay. But it's deeper than that. All right. Now, stocks of variola virus. Now, following the eradication of smallpox, scientists and public health officials determined there was still a need to perform research. Okay, are y'all hearing what I'm saying? This I'm reading right here. This is on the CDC website. Following the eradication of smallpox, okay, meaning it's done with, it's over with, no more cases, it's gone. Okay. Following the eradication of smallpox, scientists and public health officials determined there was still a need to perform research using the variola virus. Okay. Now, I wonder why they came up with that idea that there was still a need to do research. That's right. Smallpox was eradicated over 30 years ago, but here we are in 2021 and smallpox is back in the news. What's really going on, y'all? Okay, I'm going to read this sentence again. This is very important. Following the eradication of smallpox, scientists and public health officials determined there was still a need to perform research using the variola virus. Now, the article says they agreed to reduce the number of laboratories. This is so important, y'all. They agreed to reduce the number of laboratories holding stocks of variola virus to only 4 locations. Okay, listen, y'all, I'm going to keep reading. In 1981, the 4 countries that either served as a World Health Organization or WHO collaborating center or were actively working with the variola virus were the United States, England, Russia, and South America. I'm sorry, South Africa. Let me correct myself. South Africa. Okay. At the time in 1981, there were only four countries in the world that either served as a World Health Organization or WHO collaborating center, or were actively working with variola virus. They were the United States, England, Russia, and South Africa. Okay, now let me continue. By 1984, England and South Africa had either destroyed their stocks or transferred them to other approved labs. Okay, now let's tie this in. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading, y'all, but let's tie this in with what we with our topic for tonight. Okay, so what year did I say? 1981. 1981. Okay, 1981. There were only 4 countries in the world. Okay, only 4 countries designated as a World Health Organization collaborating center. There were only 4 countries who were approved, okay, to be working, actively working with this variola virus. Okay, again, United States, England, Russia, South Africa. Okay, by 1984, England and South Africa, according to the CDC, had either destroyed their stocks or transferred them to other approved labs. Okay, approved. All right, approved labs. Are you all following me? Are you all making the connection? Okay, now there are now, okay, in 2021, okay, 2021, there are now only 2 locations that officially store and handle variola virus under World Health Organization supervision. How many did I say, y'all? There are only 2. Okay, now in 2021, okay, which is the year that we are in, on I'm gonna just go ahead and say the date. Okay, on November 22nd. Today is what, Monday, November 22nd, right? Today is Monday, November the 22nd, 2021. Now there are only 2. Now there are only 2 locations that officially store and handle the variola virus under World Health Organization supervision. Those 2 locations are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, and the State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology, or it's also referred to as the Vector Institute in Kosovo, Russia. Okay, are y'all hearing me? Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I'm seeing your comments. I'm also getting through the information that I'm sharing with you all. Okay, what I said is so important. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Right now in 2021. Okay, so let's break it down even more, y'all. Okay, it went from being 4 approved locations in 1981. They were the United States, England, Russia, South Africa. There were only 4. This is in 1981. There were only 4 approved locations, World Health Organization collaborating centers that were actively working with the virus. Okay, by 1984, it went down to only 2. It said England and South Africa had either destroyed their stocks or transferred them to other approved labs. Okay, so they pretty much had got rid of theirs. In 2021, I'm going to repeat this. I hope that it's sticking with you all. Okay, in 2021, yes, the CDC has a location in Atlanta. Yes, yes. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. Are y'all making the connection here? In 2021, there are only 2. There are now only 2 locations. I'm reading right here from the CDC website, y'all. There are now only 2 locations that officially store and handle the variola virus under World Health Organization supervision. They are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, the CDC, and the State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology, or the Vector Institute, in Kosovo, Russia. Now, y'all, did I just say anything about Pennsylvania? Let me go. Let me go back and look over Pennsylvania. Okay, I got the article right here. I printed it out. Okay. Let me see. The title of the article says Frozen Vials Mark Smallpox Found in a Lab Freezer in Pennsylvania. But let me go back to what the CDC just said. Okay, this is on the CDC website, y'all. Y'all can research it. Y'all can look it up. There are only 2 locations that officially store and handle the variola virus under World Health Organization supervision: the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, and the State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology Vector Institute in Kosovo, Russia. I agree. Do y'all see this? So, okay, so Russia, that's a different country, right? Atlanta, Georgia. So the only place, okay, let's use our reasoning skills, y'all. So the only place in the United States, if we were to find some vials labeled smallpox, the only place in the United States that it should be, the only approved lab, the only approved location should be in Atlanta, Georgia, right? So where Pennsylvania? What frozen vials marked smallpox? Let me go back. Am I reading this right? Let me go back just a minute. Let me go back. I'm gonna change the slides, y'all. Okay. I know I'm not going crazy. Okay, I'm reading this article. Are you all reading what I'm reading? Okay, according to the CDC, in 2021, the only approved locations are the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia, and we'll just say the Vector Institute in Kosovo, Russia. But according to the article, it says frozen vials marked smallpox were found in a lab freezer in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, y'all. So the question is, how did it get there? Who put it there? And why? That's not an approved location based on what the CDC is saying. Someone shared, we understand the connection. Something isn't right with the situation. The CDC and FBI need to find out where these vials came from and who's responsible. I agree. Someone else shared, somebody put them there, or they're lying on all the locations. Something ain't right, y'all. I do remember that story. Yes, I do. I do remember the story of the black doctor. Someone mentioned the black doctor who worked for the CDC. I do remember that story. That happened a few years ago, and that's something to think about. I know that there was a lot surrounding that story. My thoughts and prayers go out to his family. I do know that they covered, his family on the news. But I do remember that story. I do remember that story. This right away is very concerning. And I'm glad that I was able to provide that background information to you all, because I thought it was important for, when we see this headline, I thought it was important for us to not just read it and say, okay, they found smallpox. I wanted us to go back and see, okay, what is smallpox? What are the origins? What steps were taken to get rid of it And now all of a sudden in 2021, we're hearing about this happening again. I also thought it was very important that we know that if this something like this were to be found, what are the approved locations, the approved laboratories where something like this would be handled? And the fact that it was found in Pennsylvania, which is not one of the two, not one of the only two approved locations, is very concerning. Um, I agree. I agree. Someone was speaking about the American Black doctor um, from a few years ago who did work for the CDC. Um, let's see. Right, right. It was a lot. It was a lot. That came out of that story. Um, Out of respect for the family, I don't know his family, but I won't. I won't get into a lot of the. I won't discuss a lot of what could have been said or what could have happened. But I do know that there were a lot of questions surrounding that situation. I don't know. I don't. I didn't know him personally. I don't know the family, but I do know that was a very tragic incident that happened. My thoughts and prayers are with his family. Um, but I do wonder, and I have wondered. This is something I've actually had a discussion with. Um, because when it did happen, my husband and I, we were following the story, and here we are in 2021, and it's just something to think about again, as far as his role in the CDC, and you know, I won't go into too much detail about it because, like I said, I want to respect his family. Um, but it was just a tragic situation. My thoughts and prayers are with his family. Um, but again, y'all, the fact that this is something that was found in Pennsylvania um, is very concerning. Is very concerning. Someone said, "Why do they want everyone to get the thing?" Um, there are, there have been a lot of discussions around that. Um, I have referenced before the person who asked that question. I have referenced a video. If you get a chance, make sure you go and look up. It's right here on YouTube, but it's a video. It was a TED Talks that was done by Bill Gates back in 2011. Back in 2011, and it's called Innovating to Zero. I think if you watch that video and listen to some of his concerns, these were things that he was talking about. A lot of what he was talking about back in 2011, a lot of those things are happening right now. And so that was what, 10 years ago. Um, and so I think if you look at his video and see some of the concerns he had, the things he was saying, Bill Gates, I think you will get some of your answers there. But make sure you look it up. The video is called Innovating to Zero. He was doing a TED Talks talking about climate change, and it's very concerning. Okay, but look it up, Innovating to Zero. I want to go back and verify what year it was published. Innovating to Zero by Bill Gates. Okay, it came out 11 years ago, and it was published on February 20th, 2010. Okay, so let me correct myself. February 2010. So that was 11 years ago. But make sure you watch that video, and I think that you may get some of your answers there. Okay. But now I am going to be coming back. I'll try to go live again tonight, but I am going to be speaking about are giving you all an update on what's been happening in the country of Austria. As a matter of fact, I'll be reporting on this as well. But the whole country of Austria is back on lockdown. People are protesting against getting the thing, and they're shutting down restaurants, stores, these places, theaters. These places are being told to close if it's non-essential. So I will be giving you an update on that as well. Okay, but y'all. Let me give you some more information on this. Thank you all so much. I love that we're having I love that we're having a discussion on this. If you all have any questions or comments, please make sure you put them in the chat as I share the information with you all. I am monitoring the chat so that I can answer your questions and your comments. Okay. All right. So we talked about what smallpox is. Um, it is a deadly infectious disease caused by the variola virus that plagued the world for centuries and wiped away nearly a third of people it infected. Okay. Victims suffered scorching fever, body aches, and then spots and blisters that would leave survivors with pitted scars. Okay. Someone said, thank you for that reminder. I need to watch that Bill Gates TED Talks. I'm telling you, um, if you watch it, first of all, I was just, after watching it, I asked myself, how is it that the things he talked about 11 years ago, a lot of those things are happening now in the current times that we live in. So if you have not watched that video, I do encourage you to watch it. It will give you a different perspective, a different outlook on exactly what's going on. Someone said people here are pressured to get the thing. I think that when you say here, are you saying like in the United States? There are I've had a chance to go different places. I definitely feel like in certain communities, specifically in the Black community, I feel like the Black community is being targeted and pressured. More, pressure is being put on the Black community to get this thing. Um, I say that because even I have a chance to be in different areas, different communities, and the way that I see um, the clinics and things popping up, even signs, advertisements. I don't see that much. I don't see that much of a focus or that much of a target put on other groups as compared to in the Black community. Okay. In the islands. Okay. People are pressured to get the thing. What island? I would like to do more research on that to see exactly what's going on. And I would like to ask the question, why do you feel in the islands that, or what is being done to make you feel like pressure is being put on you to get the thing? Okay. And thank you for sharing that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Again, I told you about the two sites being in Atlanta and a center in Russia. Now, Smallpox Research, okay, again, according to the article from CNBC, smallpox research in the United States focuses on the development of the V word, drugs, and diagnostics tests to protect people against smallpox in the event that it is used as an agent of bioterrorism, according to the CDC. Now, did y'all just hear me? Smallpox research, according to the article on CBS News, smallpox research in the United States focuses on the development of the V word, drugs, and diagnostics tests to protect people against smallpox in the event that it is used as an agent of bioterrorism, according to the CDC. Okay, bioterrorism. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? That's concerning as well. So they're saying that they're conducting research to protect people against smallpox in the event that it is used as an agent of bioterrorism. Now, here's some more information, y'all. Okay, it says in July 2014, officials said a government scientist. Okay, now this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Okay, where someone has discovered vials with smallpox. Listen to this, y'all. I found some information. I'm going to be sharing it on the next slide. But in July 2014, so that was over 7 years ago, July 2014, officials said a government scientist. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Hold on, y'all. Okay, we talked about this. Let me go back. Okay, in July 2014, okay, now on the screen, you all can see, it says CDC smallpox found in NIH storage room is alive. Okay, you all see where it says published Friday, July, what is this, July? Let me make it bigger. Friday, July 11, 2014. This was an article from 7 years ago, y'all. So this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Let's talk about it, okay? So in July 2014, this is from, so the article that I put on the screen, I have that. I'm going to read that next. But in the same article from CBS News, they referenced what I have right here on the screen for you, okay? Let's see what CBS News had to say. Now, according to the article CBS News, it says in July 2014, officials said a government scientist cleaning out an old storage room at a Bethesda, Maryland. Here's another location, y'all. Okay, let me start over. In July 2014, officials said a government scientist cleaning out an old storage room at a Bethesda, Maryland research center found 6 decades old glass vials containing freeze-dried smallpox samples packed away and forgotten in a cardboard box. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? Okay, now let's go back 7 years ago, 2014. Okay, now going back to the article that I shared earlier, this right on the CDC website. They said that there are only 2 places, 2 approved locations, right, where something like this should be found. They are Atlanta and a center in Russia. Okay, the CDC in Atlanta, the Vector Institute in Russia. It says nothing about Maryland, but Maryland has come up. In 2014, officials said a government scientist cleaning out an old storage room at Bethesda, Maryland research center found 6 decades old glass vials containing freeze-dried smallpox samples, freeze-dried smallpox samples, y'all, that were packed away and forgotten in a cardboard box. Officials called it the first discovery of unaccounted for smallpox in the country. Do y'all not see what's going on? Something ain't right, y'all. Someone said, let's see, something similar happened in 2014, but there's a Maryland Research Center. Isn't that where they conduct bioterrorism research? I'm not, now that part is true. It did happen in 2014. But there's a Maryland. I'm not sure if that is a military research center. If someone could look that up and share with us right here on the channel, Fort Dix or Fort Dixon, something like that. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can look that up. Or can you all look it up for me and then let me know in the chat? But I went and I printed out this article. CDC smallpox found in NIH storage room is alive. Okay. Can you all look that up? Is that a military research center? Someone say, isn't that where they conduct bioterrorism research? Can someone look that up while I share details on what happened in 2014? And it may say it in the article. I'm not sure. But let's keep going, y'all. CDC. Okay, so this information comes from CNN, and it says CDC smallpox found in NIH storage room is alive. Now, does that word NIH, does that sound familiar? NIH. I want you all, now that's something else I want you all to research. I want you all to research NIH, and I want you all to see how NIH has recently been in the news. Now, again, y'all, this article is from July July 11th, 2014. Hold on just a minute, y'all. I had to let someone know that I was live on my YouTube channel. They were trying to call me. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do some research and look that up. But it may actually be in the article that I'm reading. So let's talk about this, y'all. The CDC said smallpox. This again, this is not a current article. This is from the article that you see on the screen is from July 11th, 2014. So that was a little over 7 years ago. And it says smallpox found in NIH storage room is alive. Now, after this video is over with, or if you have an extra electronic device, laptop, cell phone, tablet, I want you to research NIH and see how they're in the news right now. But let me go ahead and tell you all about this article. Okay. Now, again, July 11th, 2014, the story says, or the article says, at least 2 smallpox vials found at the NIH contain viable samples of the virus. Okay. Now, at least 2 vials, at least 2 of the vials, employees at the National Institute of Health, NIH stands for National Institute of Health, found in an unused storage room earlier this month contain viable samples of the deadly smallpox virus, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention said Friday. Now, again, let me remind you, I don't want anyone panicking or being alarmed. This information that I am reading right now is from 2014. Okay, but I want to show you all how, even though we're talking about the fact that they just recently found what is suspected or labeled as smallpox in vials in a Pennsylvania lab, I want you all to know that something like this has occurred in the past. But let me keep going. Okay. Employees found 6 forgotten vials when they were prepared to move a lab from the Food and Drug Administration's Bethesda, Maryland campus to a different location. Now, the laboratory had been used by the NIH, but was transferred to the FDA in 1972. Okay. The article says when the scientists found the vials, they immediately put them in a containment lab and on July 1st notified the branch of the government that deals with toxic substances called the Division of Select Agents and Toxins. The CDC said previously there's no evidence that any of the vials was breached, nor were any of the lab workers exposed to the virus. All right. Now, on Monday, again, y'all, this is not current news. This is back from 2014, but it says on Monday, law enforcement agencies transferred the vials to the CDC's high containment facility in Atlanta. Now, again, y'all, let's go back. Okay, so let's go back to some current news. Let's reference current news. I shared with you all that there are only 2 approved locations that something like this, the variola virus, where people would be working on them at. Okay, again, those locations are the CDC Center in Atlanta, Georgia, and the Vector Institute in Russia. Okay, how did they end up in Maryland? It says that they were preparing to move a lab from the Food and Drug Administration's Bethesda, Maryland campus to a different location. Okay. The laboratory had been used by the NIH, but was transferred to the FDA in 1972. Now, again, I want you all to research the NIH. Okay. There have been, I think in my last video, I referenced Dr. Fauci. And I talked about even Senator Rand Paul, who is a senator out of the state of Kentucky. And, he has there has been some discussion, some questioning um, to Dr. Fauci about the NIH, and some research that was done, some work that was done um, pertaining to the current pandemic. But I want you all to research NIH and see exactly what's going on with them in the news. Okay. Now, when the scientists found the vials, they immediately put them in a containment lab, and on July the 1st, notified the branch of the government that deals with toxic substances called the Division of Select Agents and Toxins. Now, the CDC said previously there was no evidence that any of the vials was breached, nor were any of the lab workers exposed to the virus. Okay, on Monday, law enforcement agencies transferred the vials to the CDC's high containment facility in Atlanta. The CDC is one of only two official World Health Organizations designated to handle or work with smallpox. Okay, we talked about that earlier. Again, I'm reporting on news. This is back from 2014. Okay. Now, CDC at the time, this is in 2014, CDC Director Tom Frieden said his scientists worked through the night on the samples as soon as they got them. Testing confirmed testing confirmed that there was variola DNA in the vials. Okay, so it was basically the virus that caused smallpox. Now, additional tests, the article says, results showed evidence of growth. I quote, evidence of growth in samples from two vials, suggesting that the smallpox virus is alive. The other 4 vials still need to be tested for evidence of growth, Frieden said. After the investigation is complete, the CDC will destroy the vials and all of the growth that came out of them. The World Health Organization will oversee that destruction. All right. So what do y'all think about that news? And again, that was in 2014, y'all. Okay. Let's see. Some additional information says the vials were created February 10th, 1954. Okay, now let me repeat that, y'all. The vials that they found, this is in 2014, the vials were created February the 10th, 1954, y'all. That's why it says 6 decades old. That is before the smallpox eradication campaign began. Frieden says that the NIH is currently scouring their buildings to make sure there are no other surprises left in unused storerooms. He says the problem in this case is not in the creation of the vials. The discovery points to a problem. The discovery points to a, and I quote, problem in inventory control. So what are your thoughts on that, y'all? In 2014, they found live the variola virus, which causes smallpox. They found it in a storage room in Bethesda, Maryland. This is in 2014. It was confirmed to be the virus. What are your thoughts on that? Okay, someone shared, sounds like there was an agreement to limit the smallpox virus vials to certain places, but it ended up being transported all over and nobody was keeping track of it. That's careless and irresponsible. Okay. It is, it makes you, because it's showing up in other places where it is not approved to be, so to speak. It makes you think, okay, well, if it's going through all these hands, different people are handling it. What is being done with it? You think about this, like, just think about even in your household, when you put food or you put an item in the freezer, you plan to use it again, right? If you take the time and you prepare something to be stored in a freezer, 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, you're planning to go back and one day use that item in some form or fashion, right? So if that's the case, what was someone planning to do with it? Now I talked about research, which I'm gonna get into more. I hope you all are enjoying this episode. I know we're almost at about an hour now into the episode. And I feel like I'm sharing a lot of good information, giving you all some background information so that even if you're not aware of smallpox, some people may not have been around in the 50s when smallpox, was around, when these vials were first labeled and stored. And so, in that case, more information about smallpox, the severity of it, the eradication of it, and why it's so concerning that in 2021 we're having the same discussion. And so I hope that I'm giving you all some good information on tonight. Okay. Again, but hey y'all, wait a minute. Here's an update. Okay. Now, someone shared, let me read this comment. What's scary is that they just happened to be discovered when cleaning was going on. Right. Somebody easily could have been exposed. That's true. Nobody knew exactly when those vials were put there. Right. That's the part that's so concerning, because it seems like, to me, at least from what I can, or what I would think, it seemed like there will be checks and balances put in place to make sure. It seems like there will be a system in place, I would think, to make sure that um, whoever is handling it or preparing it to be stored, that they're following the correct procedures to not only protect themselves but protect anyone that could potentially come in contact with the vials. So it just seems like it wouldn't just be easily just put to the side unless there was an intention to do something outside of what normally would be done. I think for me that's the most concerning part. Okay. Thank you all for sharing your comments. Now, wait a minute, y'all. So um, since that time, or actually, the article was published. The first article I read to you was published on November the 18th, I believe. Let me go back and look at it. It was published on November the 18th. But wait a minute, y'all. Now, the very next day, so the first article I read, frozen vials marked smallpox found in a lab freezer in Pennsylvania. That's according to the CDC. But then the very next day, another article was released by CBS News. And the title of the article says, vials labeled smallpox found in Pennsylvania lab freezer have no trace of the virus. And that's according to the CDC. So wait a minute. Okay. So you're saying that, okay, let me see if I can make sense of this. So they first put out that some vials that were labeled smallpox were found in a freezer, were found by a worker in a lab freezer in Pennsylvania, somewhere where it's not even supposed to be at. Just going by the label, it says smallpox. But then the very next day, they come out and say that the vials labeled smallpox that were found in Pennsylvania lab freezer have no trace of the virus. All right, y'all. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I don't know, but let's read. Let's see what they had to say, y'all. Okay. This is according to CBS News. Now, frozen vials labeled smallpox that were discovered in a freezer at a research facility, at a V-word research facility in Pennsylvania, and I quote, contain no trace of virus known to cause smallpox. Okay, now that was said by federal health officials. Okay, someone said this doesn't sound right at all. I would think there's some trace of the virus, even a trace amount. I don't believe that. Hey, it's very questionable, right? Okay, but according to federal health officials, frozen vials labeled smallpox that were discovered in a freezer at a V-word research facility in Pennsylvania contain no trace of virus known to cause smallpox. Okay, they said this. This article came out the very next day. Federal health officials said the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said Thursday that testing showed the vials contain a virus used in the smallpox V-word. Okay, that's what they said. That's what they're saying was actually in the vials. So it was not the variola virus, the virus that causes smallpox, but instead they're saying that it was the virus that is used in the smallpox V word, okay? Smallpox jab, if you want to say that, okay? And not the actual variola virus itself, okay? Now, the CDC had said Monday that the vials were, and I quote, incidentally discovered by a laboratory worker who was wearing gloves and a face mask while cleaning out the freezer. Okay. Someone mentioned earlier that all of this is happening while cleaning is going on. Okay. The CDC has said Monday that the vials were incidentally discovered. Okay. Now, again, this article was published on the next day, November 19th, 2021. The CDC has said Monday that the vials were incidentally discovered by a laboratory worker who was wearing gloves and a face mask while cleaning out the freezer. Okay, the CDC said no one was exposed to the contents. All right, now, Mark O'Neill, who is a spokesperson for the Pennsylvania Department of Health, told the New York Times that the vials were found at a Merck facility. Okay, someone mentioned that earlier at the beginning, a Merck facility in Montgomery County. Okay, now it was not clear. All right, here's another concerning point. Okay, it was not clear why the vials were in the freezer. Again, we're talking about this is in Pennsylvania, a freezer in Pennsylvania. So it was found at a freezer in Pennsylvania, but the only two approved locations to handle something like this are Atlanta, Georgia, and a center in Russia. So how did it end up in Pennsylvania? How did it end up in Pennsylvania? We need answers, right? We need answers, okay? It was not clear, right? It was not clear. This is according to the article CBS News. It was not clear why the vials were in the freezer. So nobody knows how the vials got in the freezer. It was not clear why the vials were in the freezer. Okay, the CDC said it was, and I quote, in close contact with state and local health officials, law enforcement, and the World Health Organization about the findings. So y'all think about that for a minute. Think about everything that has been said, y'all. Still don't have an answer as to why the vials were in the freezer. Someone said the CDC sounds panicked and came up with the statement so the media would back off and people wouldn't be alarmed. That's something to think about. No, because the vial wouldn't be. Someone said no, because the vial wouldn't have been labeled various or variola, not smallpox. Okay, Merck obviously didn't. Someone else shared. Merck obviously didn't do a thorough inventory, and record keeping was shoddy, very unorganized and sloppy. Could they have a rogue scientist, or is this a secret experiment? It's definitely questionable. It makes you question what's really going on, and especially now in the time period that we are living in. You all know someone earlier shared in the comment. It seemed like there's pressure to get a certain thing every time you turn around. You're driving. There's an ad here. There's a billboard there. You hear it on the radio. You see it on the television. I was even watching I was watching PBS Kids with my child, and they're talking about the V word, and now children can get the thing. Children, encouraging children and encouraging parents on watching a kids show. Okay, I can't remember what we were watching, but we were watching PBS Kids, and next thing you know, they're talking about getting the thing. Children getting the thing. So everywhere you turn, you see it, you hear it. Um, you know, people are being told that, hey, you need to get this thing. But at the same time, now you have vials all of a sudden showing up, being found in places that they should not be in. And there's no explanation as to why or how they even got there. Shouldn't we all be asking questions? Like, what's really going on? What's going on? Shouldn't we be asking that question? I feel like, I know people are going to do what they feel like based on the knowledge that they have and what they feel like is the right thing to do. I know people are going to do what they feel like is right for themselves, their bodies. But if this doesn't make you stop and really question what's going on, I don't know. Someone said, I wonder where else smallpox vials are. Will we ever be informed? So according to the CDC website, the only two places the only place in the United States that is the only approved laboratory authorized to work on this, according to the CDC, is Atlanta, Georgia. The only place in the United States, but then there's also a laboratory in Russia. Let me go back and get the specific name. I know they also refer to it as the Vector Institute. Let me go back to my original article. Does that not concern y'all, though? Y'all let me know. Is that not concerning? How is it that these vials, okay, whether it contains the variola virus or not, how are they just showing up in places where they are not approved to be? And when I say approved to be, they're showing up outside of the two approved locations where the smallpox virus should be. Okay, I'm just going back and referring to my article earlier. I think if you look up Vector Institute in Russia, that was the other location. Okay, concerning. Okay, so again, the CDC, they actually put out a statement. CDC, this is on their website. The CDC testing shows commercial lab vials contain no trace of virus known to cause smallpox. Okay, now I actually went and pulled the media statement because I was curious as to what they would say. Okay, so I'm going to take myself out of the screen for a moment so that you can see the entire statement, and I'll read it to you. Okay, and then I'll come back on the screen. All right, so this was, it says for immediate release, Thursday, November 18th. Media statement. This is from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And the contact is media relations. Okay, now this is their statement. Again, this is on the CDC website. Laboratory testing at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, today showed that recently discovered vials marked as smallpox contain and then they have a word here. It says the virus used in smallpox vaccine. So obviously, this was done the exact same day. Okay, someone earlier mentioned that I'm gonna come back on the screen real quick because I want to say this and point this out. But someone earlier mentioned the fact that the second CBS article I referred to was put out the following day. But someone else mentioned the fact that possibly the CDC could have panicked. They didn't want to cause they didn't want the public to be alarmed. And so it looks like, based on when this media release was, this media statement was released, it looked like they did the testing all in the same day because it's dated for Thursday, November 18th. But let me continue reading. Again, I'm going to take myself out of the screen so you can see the full statement, but then I'll come back. Okay. So it says laboratory testing at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, today showed that recently discovered vials marked as smallpox contain vaccinia, the virus used in smallpox V word. Okay, there is no evidence. This is according to the CDC. There is no evidence that the vials contain variola virus, the cause of smallpox. Now, CDC is in close contact with state and local health officials, law enforcement, and the World Health Organization about these findings. Okay, now it says the article says, or the media statement says, on November 15th, 2021, the U.S. government was notified of the report of a small number of intact frozen vials labeled smallpox discovered by a laboratory worker while cleaning out a freezer in a facility that conducts V-word research in Pennsylvania. Okay, so this was they were notified, it says, on November the 15th. Okay, now the freezer facility was immediately secured and staff followed standard protocols for notifying the CDC of such a potential discovery. The vials were sent securely to CDC for testing on November 18th to determine what they contained. No one was exposed to contents of the vials. Okay, so again, that was a media statement from the CDC. All right, let's keep going. All right, research. So let's talk about, so if something like this were to be found, right, even though in 1980, I believe, 1980, 1981, it was declared that that smallpox was eradicated. Let me make sure I have my date correct. In 1980, the World Health Assembly declared smallpox eradicated. So if vials of smallpox were to be found and used and actively worked on, the two locations, Atlanta or Russia. Let's talk about research. Okay, now again, this comes from the CDC website, and it says the variola virus, the virus that causes smallpox, causes disease only in people. Okay, that's something else to think about. Other related viruses, such as monkeypox, can infect both animals and people. This unique characteristic of variola virus makes it an important virus to study and help us learn more about infectious diseases. Okay, the goal of smallpox research is to address three areas that are essential for public health. Now, in an earlier article, I talked about how there was a need, I guess, to keep some vials, maybe for research, possibly. But let's see exactly what's going on with that. Okay, the goal of smallpox research, this is according to the CDC, is to address three areas that are essential for public health. All right. It says finding better antiviral drugs to treat smallpox disease, making safer V-word, you all see what's on the screen, and improving tests to detect the variola virus. Now, a question I have is, well, if it's eradicated, why do they need to do all of these things? Okay. Now, it's all research using variola virus is overseen by the World Health Organization, WHO. The WHO Advisory Committee on Variola Virus Research reviews the research that is proposed each year. There are two WHO designated sites where stocks of variola virus are stored and used for research. Again, okay, someone earlier asked about this, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, in Atlanta, Georgia, which is in the United States, and the Russian State Center for Research on Virology and Biotechnology in Kosovo, Novosibirsk region, Russia Federation. Okay, so those are the locations. All right, research to find new treatment. I want to talk about this. Let me take myself out of the screen so you all can see it. Exactly why. Why do they need to do, if this is something that's eradicated, there have been no cases of this since the 1980s. Why is it a need to do research? That's the question that I have. Okay, but let's talk about why would they need to do research. So research to find new treatment. Okay, smallpox disease is caused by a virus. Drugs that fight diseases caused by viruses are called antiviral drugs. Some antivirals that may help to treat smallpox or prevent it from getting worse include tecovirimat, cidofovir, and Brincidofovir. I hope I said all that right. If I didn't, y'all, I apologize. However, these drugs have not been tested in people sick with smallpox. So it is not known if a person with smallpox will benefit from treatment with any one of them. Okay, listen to what's being said, y'all. You can actually take what they're saying about the research on smallpox and apply it to actually what's going on today with the you know what. Okay, they talk about two antiviral drugs being approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for treatment of smallpox. They were actually approved under the FDA's animal rule, which allows efficacy findings from adequate and well-controlled animal studies to support an FDA approval when it is not feasible or ethical to conduct efficacy trials in humans. Okay. CDC is working with collaborators to find new and existing drugs that can reduce the harmful effects of variola virus, even though it's eradicated, y'all. Scientists first look at these drugs' ability to stop infection in a laboratory. Then they find out how the drug stops infections from happening. What they learn can help, according to the article, it says what they learn can help us understand how to stop variola viruses from spreading and to design better drugs to treat these viruses. Okay, again, why is all this necessary if this is something that has not been around for well over 30 years or so? Okay. But let's keep going. Actually, if it's the 1980s, it will be what? Well over 40 years, right? All right, let's keep going. I have a question. Okay, so that was my last slide. I want you all to know exactly what type of research they are doing, but I would like for you to answer the question. Okay, take a moment and answer the question. What concerns, if any, okay, what concerns, if any, do you have about vials labeled smallpox being found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer? Okay, so if you have not already shared, if you're watching now live or if you're watching by replay, please take a moment. I would like to know your thoughts. I have presented some very detailed, very thorough, factual information with you to let you know exactly what's going on about these vials that were labeled smallpox being found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer. What concerns I would like, this is where you can, this is where your voice, I want to hear your voice, not technically hear your voice because I can't hear you, but I want to know your thoughts. Okay, so here's where you can share your thoughts. If you have not already, please answer the following question. I would like for you all to comment below in the chat, whether you're watching now live or watching by replay. I have a question, and my question is, what concerns, if any, do you have about vials labeled smallpox being found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer? Okay, so please take a moment and share your thoughts. Someone said nobody knows how they arrived there or why. That is definitely a big, big concern. As I share with you all, the CDC said, and let me read it again. Hold on, y'all. Let me find my article. It was not clear why the vials were in the freezer. That is a big concern. Nobody has an answer. And that is something I feel like we need answers for. Okay. So, again, if you have not already shared your comments in the chat, please make sure you share what concerns, if any, if you have any concerns, what are they and how do you feel? What concerns, if any, do you have about vials labeled smallpox being found in a Pennsylvania lab freezer? So whether you're watching now live or watching by replay, please take a moment and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay. All right. And again, this has been episode 58. I want to say thank you all so much for supporting Andrea Speaks TV. We're going to take a break. We're going to take maybe about a 20-minute break. I'm going to come back on at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to do episode 59, where I'm going to give you all an update on what's going on the what's going on in the country of Austria. They have now gone into a countrywide lockdown, and I want to give you some information on that. So if you don't mind staying up with me a little bit longer, we're going to take about a 20-minute break, and I'm going to come back on live for episode 59. Okay, you all going to come back for episode 59. Someone shared, thank you for covering this topic. You're doing really well. Keep going. Everyone enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday and be safe. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Someone shared a great presentation. Thank you all so much. My goal is to, a lot of times things happen in the news, and as I've shared, there's so many distractions that are out there, so many other topics of conversation. that a lot of times we don't always find out what exactly we the things that are really going on that we really need to know about, that could whether or not they directly can affect us. Something like this is something that we need to know. So okay, good. So we're going to take a break at 11:30. I'll come back on for episode 59, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the country of Austria. We know that the Austrian government, has made it mandatory that people get the thing. Someone earlier talked about that as well. And so we're going to talk about some updates, some change of events, some recent events, current events that are happening there. And I want to get your thoughts on that as well. So again, thank you all for supporting Andrea Speaks TV. Make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel. So I'll be back shortly. Let's take a break and we'll come back 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 59. So again, I want to say thank you all so much. I appreciate your support. Share this video with family members or friends. Let them know what's going on. And I appreciate your support. So thank you all so much. I'll be back soon for episode 59. Y'all take care, and thank you for watching and subscribing to Andrea Speaks TV. See you all again soon. Thank you.